Meet the Crew with your host, Lloyd Ellis.
Welcome back to Meet the Crew. I'm your host, Lloyd Ellis, and today we have an amazing guest. This man is an icon when it comes to the live entertainment industry. He does everything from concert tours to festivals to super stupid, large, high-profile corporate events, high-profile political events. This man has done everything under the sun. But before we get to that, I have to take care of a little bit of housekeeping. It looks as though that about 60% of you all that watch this aren't even subscribed. What's going on with that? It's very easy to hit that little like, that little subscribe. Well, you don't even have to like it, but hit that subscribe for me so that way we can keep these videos coming, and make sure to hit that little bell notification so you know who we have coming up next. If you don't, that takes away the ability for you to be able to know who we have coming up next and for you to see what other rock stars that we might have on the show. And I'm not talking about those on the stage. I'm talking about those behind the scenes. Yes, this is Meet the Crew, where you meet everybody behind the scenes. Every once in a while, we might have one of those people that are in front of the camera, but for the most part, we like to take care of all of those that you do not see. So with that being said, let's get into today's guest. No, you guys know how we do it around here. Who do we have on the other side of that screen today?
What's up, Lloyd? This is Tim Vaughn coming to you from my studio.
Tim Vaughn, long time.
Yeah.
It is great to see you, my friend.
It is great to see you as well. Too bad it's not in person.
Hey, very soon it will be, but we'll get into that portion a little bit later on. So, Tim, tell everybody where you're from.
Originally, I'm from Evansville, Indiana, and I currently live there now. I have bounced around a bit. Arizona, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Nashville, Florida. I've just kind of been all over the place, but currently live in Evansville, Indiana.
So for those out there that don't know, what is your expertise in this lovely industry that we have here?
Oh, if I tell you that, I have to kill you. That's my secret. Expertise. My expertise is knowing a lot of people who are very skilled at what they do. It's the best way to put it. So do I understand a lot of what they do? Yes. I was asked by someone a couple of days ago, what are you an expert at? And I said, nothing. I'm an expert at knowing great people. That's really, and so my responsibilities over my career have changed to just the people that I've met and the people that I've gotten to know and bringing them together to do events for TV, for live audiences, for fun, for recording. It just doesn't matter. It's really the people that I'm an expert at bringing great people together. But from a technical standpoint, I guess, Meet the Crew point of view, I am great at design. And again, it always goes back to connecting people, connecting business that's out there, customers that are out there, ideas that are out there, visions. I had one person tell me that I should change my portfolio to say, making dreams come true. So if they have a dream, if they've dreamed it up, what we do is make it come true. And what I'm expert at is bringing those people together to make that happen.
So tell all the folks how you got into this industry. You got a pretty awesome backstory.
Yeah. So my family has kind of been in entertainment for a while. And my uncle worked for bands like White Heart, Amy Grant, Giant. And he had me come work a show when I was a young teenager. And I fell in love with it. I was unloading trucks and breaking my back, but I fell in love with it. Just patching cables and doing all that. So, you know, I really started working big shows. I never, you know, I never started in the little back room and trying to figure out, is this, how does this work? How does that work? I was told, do this, do this, do this, do this. Don't ask questions, just do what I'm telling you. So that's kind of how I started. And then I played in a band for a while and got a record deal and kind of tried to make that work. And I realized I'm making more money doing shows than I am playing in a band. So I went back to production.
How long you been doing this?
Oh, 32 years. Professionally paid 32 years.
He's not that old, y'all, either, because he's not that far away from me. We all started very young, and a strong believer. Start young, and you're going to last a long time unless you do something crazy out there to try and hurt yourself. But that's a whole other conversation for another day. So with the family and everything like that back in the day, kind of almost not necessarily pushing you into the industry, what made you want to do this for a living?
Well, when I went to school for architecture, I wanted to learn how to design. So I studied AutoCAD back in the DOS shell days. Wait, a lot of people won't know what that is, but that's before Windows, and Mac was out, but it wasn't Macintosh or even Mac OS as we know it today. It was the black and white Mac, and a lot of printing companies used it, but AutoCAD had come out and it was on DOS shell. And so I wanted to learn architecture, really good at math. And then I would, during the summer, work shows, go to school, and then in the summer work shows, work with bar bands on the weekends, and started learning to mix and mixing shows for those bar bands while I was in school. And then right immediately after school, I did the same thing. But then I realized as technology changed, people wanted to be able to see what they were going to be doing before they got on show site, before rehearsals began, before you started prepping. So I realized that my education in design and with AutoCAD could translate into this business pretty quickly. And so I made that connection early on in my 20s, still mixing bands and bars, and was able to move quickly up the ladder because of that, because I could visualize what they were saying, then I could draw it, render it, and show it to them, and they're like, "You're hired."
I love it. I used to have this quote that I would tell people: by day I make the stars shine, but by night I'm making the new star, or the new star. And that kind of has a lot of similar analogies to it. So we mentioned this a little early on in our conversation, but yes, right now we are still enveloped in this craziness called COVID-19. We are in 2021, so we survived a year of it. But how has that affected you professionally, or even with your family, if I may ask?
Well, financially, it was huge. I mean, you go at my stage of my career, you're never looking for work. People are just calling you. Well, that just stopped. I mean, at some point you were turning away work, or you're passing on to other people because there was just too much coming in, or not enough time to even plan it. And so everything that had been planned going out of 2019 coming into 2020, and what we thought we were going to be doing, the shows that we thought we were going to be doing, the calendar was full. And I'm sure you've talked to people. I know I've talked to people. They thought they were going to have the best year ever. I knew I was going to have one of the busiest years I ever had. I was going to be working with you on some of those projects. So it looked like it was going to be an amazing year, and it just stopped. And so the big change, obviously financially, when everyone gets laid off, no one's going to be working because all the shows got canceled. But then it was just, wait a minute, I miss connecting with my people. So, a big change was doing your social hours, trying to schedule them every couple of weeks. And that kind of kicked off. And then people, started finding other work, and, and then it kind of separated, and those every 2 weeks became once a month, and then once a month every 2 months. And I just got a text from a group of people wanting to do a social hour later today. And they were like, I miss you guys. And I haven't talked to all of them in probably 3 months.
Right.
So that connection with people is I would say is the most disappointing and disheartening, because, you know, you want to be connected with people. It helps us to not feel like we're living in this little cave of a bubble, which is our now home office, home studios. It's started to open back up, and you're starting to see a little more work trickle out, but you're still not connecting with the same people, because people are making new connections. They've been so actively looking for work that they're finding all these little places to go. It's very different, very different.
I greatly understand what you're saying in that regards. It's one thing we try and make sure to reiterate to folks on this show is that the people in this industry are not a number. We are all basically like family. We all get our work. We all survive by having the relationship with the people that hire us. Spend so much time together that you have to become basically like family. If not, you're going to have a very rough time trying to survive in this industry. So with that being said,
I just had a guitar fall. I don't even know how it fell. These things hang up here day and night.
With all that being said, what are you currently doing?
I am currently and have been since October, designing virtual studios, whether they're in people's offices, at home, hosting virtual meetings for corporations. And but a lot of them have said, okay, we've gone through a year. This was supposed to be 3 months. It was supposed to be 6 months. It's time to do something. And so now people are building studios in their corporate offices. They're taking space, taking desks and chairs and building new walls, and they're building virtual studios so that they can continue to promote their products, train people. And some are doing them blended, and some are doing them just as like studio sets. Some are doing live events, but I've been designing those studios for people, and in some cases helping them, you know, connect with vendors for ordering equipment and or bringing it in as temporary studios. Did one as a temporary studio in a training theater, and we converted it into a green screen studio so that they could do several weeks of training and product launches. And I just spent time on calls with China and Japan, where a company in the United States has offices over there, and they're wanting to interconnect their training rooms so that they can have studios that can record and train and launch products across. So looks like I might be going to China and Japan if all the restrictions get lifted in a year. It'll probably be a year, but I think people are just saying we're not going to get stuck here again. And so they're preparing ahead, and where their marketing departments are kind of leading the charge, their live events departments of corporations. And I mean, you're seeing it everywhere. I mean, even the NFL has hosted several virtual, the draft and a lot of the interview sessions. They've cut out the Pro Bowl and did it all virtual. They did the awards ceremony virtual. It's just completely changed. So I think people are just saying we're going to be prepared if this happens again.
As always, a pioneer in the newest technology. You've always been able to
got to stay ahead of it.
Stay completely ahead of the game. If you're with current technology, you're actually behind, and that's a reality, especially in our industry.
Yes.
Well, before I let you go, we come to the segment of our show where we ask the guest, and the guest today is you, my friend. If there is one thing and one thing only that Tim Vaughn has for the world to know, what might that be?
For the world to know, I'm going to read it. It's one of my favorite quotes, and I think it's best. It's by George Washington. As you can see, I'm a fan of George Washington stuff. What I want the world to know, it's kind of goes back to my beginning statements of what I said about good people connecting. That's what I'm an expert at. And associate with men or people of good quality if you esteem your own reputation, for it's better to be alone than in bad company. And he said this later in his life. And the reason why I brought up the fact that he did free his slaves, and he was like, this is wrong, we need to go away from that. Most of his friends were the people that worked his land. And at his funeral, what shocked so many people, if you read the story, was the slaves that he freed came and paid honor to him because he treated them with respect, where a lot of people of the South didn't. And he told everyone, it's not me. If you're going to be a great leader, surround yourself with great people. And this quote was given at his funeral by one of those people who used to work his land and had been freed, and came back to his funeral and said, this is why we came back, because he understood it's not him, it's the people. And so I would say that is what I want the world to know.
Brother,
I went deep on you.
way deep, but you know what? That's what it's all about. Sometimes these deep conversations need to be had. So, Tim, I want to thank you again for joining us on Meet the Crew. And how can people get in touch with you if they want to have a conversation, hire you for some work, or just even have a little hang?
How do they get in touch with me? You can email me at, you can find me on LinkedIn, of course, Tim Vaughn, just look it up. You can find me there. And you can email me at tim.vaughn@arlisoldesigns.com. And that means innovative in Welsh. I am Welsh, so I chose a word from my roots.
We will make sure to put all of that in the description, so that way people can do a little clicky click click or a little copy and paste and reach out to you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tim Vaughn.
I am Tim Vaughn, and you have now met the crew.
Meet the Crew with your host, Lloyd Ellis.